Good morning and a warm welcome. This is Sage. You're watching Kalkine TV live from Sydney, and this is the Global Markets Roundup show. And this morning we're going to take a glance at how the global markets fared last night, starting with the US markets. The US Treasury's prices held gains, keeping the yields lower, and the stock prices stayed mostly higher, with the dollar firm on Wednesday after the Federal Reserve released minutes from its latest meeting that largely confirmed the market expectations. An MSCI World Equity Index, which tracks shares in 45 nations, down 2.03 points or 0.28%. The US stocks ended higher on Wednesday after minutes from the last Federal Reserve's meetings showed officials were divided on economic signals. And unofficially, the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 104.42 points or 0.3%. The S&P 500 gained 14.81 points or 0.34%. And the Nasdaq Composite added 1.42 points or 0.01%. 8 of the 11 critical stock segments of the S&P 500 stayed in positive territory, with real estate and healthcare sectors leading the index. The energy stocks were the bottom movers, and meanwhile the rail transport company Amtrak said that it would spend $7.3 billion to replace its old coaches, while Siemens Mobility Company said it would start manufacturing trains at its Sacramento, California-based plant in line with the President Joe Biden's Buy America program. Let us now take a look at the newsmakers, and shares of online retail company Newegg Commerce Inc jumped 181% in the intraday trading after it started selling NVIDIA's GeForce RTX graphics cards, which is in short supply a day before. On Wednesday, it launched a new business venture that offers PC assembly services to customers. The next newsmaker, Apple Inc. increased by 1.67% and Microsoft Corp rose 0.85%. Adobe Inc. gained 1.63% and NVIDIA Corp declined 0.93%, while ASML Holdings NV advanced 0.93%. Salesforce.com Inc. ticked down 0.62%. Let's take a look at the healthcare stocks now. Johnson & Johnson rose 0.78%, Abbott Laboratories gained 0.77%, and Thermo Fisher Scientific Inc. advanced 1.13%. Novo Nordisk, AVS and Zoetis Inc. rose 1.35% and 1.37%, while Moderna Inc. dropped 4.56%. In the energy sector, ExxonMobil stocks declined by 1.45%, Chevron Corp fell by 0.88%, and PetroChina Company Limited decreased by 1.88%. The Royal Dutch Shell plc and Total Energies SE shed 1.01% and 1.29%. ConocoPhillips dropped 1.97% as well. In the real estate stocks now, the American Tower Corporation advanced 1.13%, Prologix Inc. gained 0.82%, and Crown Castle International Corp increased by 0.67%, Equinix Inc. rose 1.34%, while KE Holdings Inc. fell 8.64%. Crypto exchange Coinbase Global Inc. jumped 7.22%, while Bitcoin and Ethereum advanced 2.06% and 1.83%. Let's move on now, taking a look at the futures, commodities and the bond markets. Gold futures were up 0.54%, silver increased 0.19%, while copper rose 1.30%. The Brent oil increased 0.03% and WTI crude decreased 1.61%. The 30-year Treasury bond yields were down 3.03%, while the 10-year bond yields decreased 3.44%. The US dollar futures index increased 0.18%. And this was the latest from the global markets. Now it's time for a short break, but after the break we will take a look at the European and the Asian stock markets. Crypto talk by Kalkine. The crypto market has been red hot given the Bitcoin rally since the past year. And now the most famous cryptocurrency has got competitors, Dogecoin and Ethereum. If the crypto market excites you, tune in with me, Sage, to know the latest developments about the existing digital currencies and the new ones that are joining the race. I'll help you understand the opportunities and the risks the crypto market has in store for you. For all the digital currency related developments, continue watching Crypto Talk by Kalkine. Welcome back, Sage here. You're watching Kalkine TV live from Sydney, and this is the Global Markets Roundup show. Let us take a look now at the European and the Asian stock markets. Beginning with the European stocks, who rose on Wednesday as the commodity-linked stocks recovered from sharp falls in the previous session, while the lower bond yields kept supporting highly valued technology shares. The Pan-European Stock 600 rose 0.8%, a day after the index snapped a three-day winning streak as worries about the global economy led to a bond market rally that pushed US and Eurozone bond yields lower. And the London markets traded in a green zone, driven by mining and energy stocks. And moreover, the UK housing boom cooled down. And according to the lender Halifax, the average UK house price had shown a monthly drop of around 0.5% during June of 2021. The FTSE 100 listed BHP Group shares jumped by 3.19%, Anglo-American shares jumped by 3.12%, and Glencore shares jumped by 2.63%, boosted by a rise in the commodity price. Redrow shares rose by around 3.15% after the company had projected the financial year 2022 revenue to exceed £2 billion, driven by a robust order book and private rental sector project completion. Next up, pub chain JD Wetherspoon's shares dropped by around 1.76% after the company stated that it expected to make a full-year loss as like-for-like sales continue to drop despite easing COVID-19 restrictions. And Vistry Group shares grew by around 0.62% after the company had expected to meet consensus estimates for the financial year 21, driven by strong demand across all business segments. Let's move on now to the Tokyo markets. Japanese shares ended lower on Wednesday, dragged down by the chip-related stocks with worries over a resurgence of COVID-19 infections ahead of the Tokyo Olympics weighing on sentiments. The Nikkei share average fell 0.96% to close, while the broader topics slipped 0.86%. The Japanese government bond yields fell on Wednesday, tracking the US Treasury yields as the market witnessed the strong results of the Bank of Japan's bond buying operations. The 10-year JGB yield fell 1 basis point to 0.030%, and the 20-year JGB yield fell 0.5 basis points to 0.410%. The next market in Asia we'll take a look at will be China's shares closed higher on Wednesday, helped by robust strength in Shenzhen's startup board, Chi-Next, and Shanghai's tech-focused Star Market, after Beijing stepped up supervision of Chinese firms listed overseas. And at the close, the Shanghai Composite Index was up 0.66%, and the blue chip CSI 300 index was up 1.13%. The yuan inched higher against the dollar on Wednesday as tighter cash conditions offset a weaker than expected official guidance rate, which some traders felt signalled authorities' unease over the Chinese currency strength. And in the spot market, onshore yuan was changing hands at midday, 72 pips firmer than the previous late session close. And the next Asian market we'll look at will be South Korea. South Korean shares fell on Wednesday by their most in more than 2 weeks as the country reported its second highest number of daily new COVID-19 cases ever. The won weakened while the benchmark bond yield fell. The benchmark Kospi ended down 19.87 points or 0.60%, marking its biggest decline since June 21st. The won ended on the onshore settlement platform 0.74% lower than its previous close. And this is how the European and Asian markets fared overnight. It is time for a short break, but after the break we'll take a look at the Australian stock market, so please stay tuned with Kalkine TV. Property by Kalkine. Looking for a dream home?
Well, that may sound easy, but it isn't. And from looking for a property that is the right fit for you in terms of cost and other factors, to zeroing down on the right mortgage plan, there are various aspects to consider. And for the latest lowdown on the property market, tune in on Kalkine TV with me, Sage. I will give the latest updates on the property market as well as real estate stocks to help you make the right decision. Keep watching Property with Kalkine.
Good morning, viewers. Welcome back. This is Sage and you're watching Kalkine TV live from Sydney this morning. And this is the Global Markets Roundup show. Let us now take a look at the Australian stock markets. On Thursday, the Australian benchmark index, the ASX 200, is set to stay on the higher side in the morning trade on the backdrop of a stronger Wall Street closing, and surging iron ore and copper prices will likely lift the heavyweight local miners today. The Australian dollar traded below its important resistance level as the market participants bet on the country's central bank to keep the monetary policy easy for a long time to come. The New Zealand dollar pulled back from the 3-week highs. Let's look at the shares that are likely to stay trending today. On Wednesday, the tech-heavy Nasdaq 100 continued its massive uptrend again, making a record high. Also, a massive rebound of the ASX Information Technology Index, clocking a 2.5% gain on Wednesday, had depicted the demand for technology is still there. And shares such as Afterpay, Xero and Zipco could continue with their gains today as well. On Wednesday, the crude oil prices retraced more than $1 per barrel in another volatile trading session, as traders worried that this week's collapse in the OPEC Plus meeting could eventually mean more upcoming supply is on the way. And Australian energy shares such as Origin Energy, Oil Search and Woodside Petroleum could open on a negative note today. On Wednesday, the gold prices rose above an important level as the US Treasury yields fell after minutes from the Fed's June meeting. Gold miners such as Silver Lake Resources, St Barbara and De Grey Mining could trade with a bullish bias in today's session. And the Chinese steel futures increased on Wednesday as the hot rolled coils and construction rebar both settled more than 3% up, underpinned by expectations of production cuts. The benchmark iron ore futures for the September month delivery recovered from the lower levels and closed the session 1% up. On Wednesday, the copper prices traded higher, recouping losses from Tuesday's session. The benchmark copper on the London Metal Exchange, or LME, was up 1.6%, and the local miners such as BHP Group, Rio Tinto and Fortescue Metals Group could have a positive trading session today. Thanks for joining us on that report. That's all for now, but please stay tuned with Kalkine TV for more of the live market updates and expert talks. We'll be back with more news in the markets, economies and diverse themes and sectors. Sage signing off for now.